If you are an EHS manager looking for a legal compliance tool on a local or global level, then this solution is for you. I'm Nandor Arnoldsky from denxpert Software, and we help you turn complex laws and regulations into actionable items for your organization. Let's check out what we provide in our system. So, when we log into denxpert, you will immediately see the most important information about your organization. Namely, for example, the new legislations that are in the system, the modified legislations that happened to change in the previous period, and then all kinds of different dashboards and charts about your current legal compliance status. For example, you will be able to see all your legal compliance areas and whether you are compliant, in progress, non-compliant, or not answered for these specific implications. You are also able to see these per your site. One very important part of our software is that you can track your compliance on a global level, where each and every one of your sites and locations will be able to see their own compliance separately. And of course, those people who are in these locations and involved in these operations, they will be able to see those sites and they will be able to decide their compliance level for those sites. Now, more importantly, when you look at these dashboards, we also have specific visualizations for these global compliance levels, as our system is connected to Microsoft Power BI. So when I switch here to our legal compliance dashboard, then the system will load into Power BI, and what you are able to see here is all of your compliance on an even better dashboard than you have seen before. And for example, here I can set up the different regional levels, countries, or even within countries, the different sites. So you are able to stay on top of all of this from one manageable system. This is of course very important for you if you are a manager or a headquarter person who wants to keep in check all the different sites and locations for your company. If we move deeper into the system, then first of all, it's very important about denxpert that it's not just a legal compliance system, but it's a platform in general, and it's a project management tool as well. What do I mean by that? First of all, you can see here on the left-hand side, these are the different modules that we offer. And today I'm going to talk about a few of these. First, if I move into the task manager, you will see that different task lists have been assigned to different people. And this is what I mean by project management in denxpert, right? Once you do your legal compliance, it's not a one-time thing only. It's a process that you constantly have to check, update, of course, work on those implications or legislations that you are not compliant with. And you can do that efficiently here in the task manager. So, for example, you can see I have a task list with a compliance calendar, which means that for quarterly compliance, Maria Gordon is the responsible person who has to prepare for this. I can assign, of course, a due date for this task. You can see here that it's overdue, and of course also give it a priority, which could be normal, high, or even urgent. In this case, you see a lot of these examples down here. So denxpert, whenever you do something in the system and you assign a task, then these tasks will show up here in the task manager, and that is how you can manage legal compliance for your whole team. And that's why our solution is more than just a legal compliance tool. It's a platform and a project management tool as well. If I move deeper into the software, and now we have to talk about the basics, because like I mentioned in the beginning, denxpert is able to service all your needs globally. Now, how do we do that exactly? The first and most important part is to set up your organization. When we set up your organization in the system, and I'm just going to give you a very brief overview of this. Of course, this is a very complex topic, but for the sake of this video, I just want to show you how it actually works in the system. You can see here in the structure of the system that we have Legal Horizons Group, and within this group we have the different companies, in this example from Germany, India and UK, but if you are a global company with operations in 100 different countries, then of course you will be able to see those 100 different countries here. And within those countries, you are then able to see the different offices or manufacturing plants, warehouses, and so on and so on. The key takeaway here is the system is highly customizable for your needs. So anything that you want to include, anything that you want to separate on a legal compliance level, you are able to do it in denxpert. All of these different structural elements, as we call them, have been set up customizably for this specific project, which is this demo, but we are able to do this for your company as well. And the same goes for the people too. The very important part here is the system is able to manage the different user rights and accesses, so you can be sure that a person from Germany will not be able to see the legal compliance level in India, and of course vice versa. So all the sensitive data can be set up that nobody will access it who doesn't need to see those, and of course it also helps the different people in the different countries to be able to just focus on only those most important things that they need to deal with actually. So this is the number one thing that you have to do when you set up denxpert, and of course what we help you with. This is the basis of your legal compliance and how you are going to work in our system. If we move deeper into the system and to the actual legal compliance part of denxpert, then I'm just going to move to the legislations part here in our software. And what you are going to see here is, this is the part that you are going to see the most when you are working in denxpert. On the right hand side, you see the different locations. Again, if you remember, in the base module, you set up your locations to begin with, and now you are able to see these differently. Of course, I am able to see all of these because I'm an administrator and these are the different levels I have set up. The colleague from India would only be able to see the Indian location, let that be Mumbai or New Delhi, and the German colleague will only be able to see the German office location. So let me just move into the Mumbai location for an example here. What you will see here is all the relevant legislations for your Mumbai location, and this is compiled by our local partners. So it's very important to mention that what we do well is we have our software solution with 10-15 years of experience in this field, and we have our local consultant partners who will help us with our legal content in the denxpert system. So whenever you see the Indian content, that's going to be from actual Indian consultants, and this is the same for all the different locations. That's how we work efficiently together. We provide the platform and our partners provide the content. So here, if I have a look at this legislation at the top, then I can immediately see that I'm compliant with 9 implications, 6 are in progress, and 1 is non-compliant. Implications are basically these requirements that your organization will need to comply with. If I open up one legislation, you will see it in detail. In the denxpert system, every legislation has certain implications attached to it. Some legislations can have just 1 implication, others can have up to 90 or 100. Of course, it highly depends on the legislative text itself. But the main point is you will get those implications and those things that you actually need to deal with and cut out all the different legal text that is not necessary for this whole process. And when it comes to these implications, you are able to decide your compliance level for each and every one of these. You can see it here. I am in progress for Rule 17, for Rule 21, I am compliant. Now, another very important thing is the auditability of denxpert. And what we mean by that is, on the right-hand side, you see immediately that whenever I make a change for my compliance level, a timestamp is going to be added with the username as well. So this means that every change in the system is getting tracked and it will be always visible in the future. And that's why we say that, of course, especially compared to an Excel file, denxpert is way more auditable and way more trustworthy. Other important parts to mention here about the legislation is you can always find the original legislations and references for these. This is very important. Of course, we only work with real legislations. Our partners are trustworthy, and this is the example for this as well. You can always select and click on these links to see the actual legislations. Now, denxpert has other certain tools that will help you with your legal compliance. So we had a look at the main legislations that you are going to work with, but that's not all. Sometimes you might have your own organizational rules, or there are some special local governmental rules that might not be covered with the federal legal content. And it is also very possible that you want to store your permits, certifications, or other things like that in the system. And of course, you can set up your own approval processes too. For this, we have the on requirements section, which I just clicked on. And in the on requirements section, basically the idea is the same as you saw with legislations. Whenever I open up a certain example, I will see that I have different obligations / implications for all of these. and I can follow the compliance level of all of these, again, with an auditable track on it. And I am able to do the same, for example, for an ISO certification. I can attach files as well to this and assign tasks too, which is another very important part. I have already mentioned our task manager in the beginning, and this is where it comes back, because whenever I'm in the on requirement section or in the legislation section, if I go back there, if I want to assign a task to a certain implication, you can see it here, for example, this task will then show up at the task manager functionality and the project manager functionality that I have already talked about. This is of course important because, like I mentioned before, whenever you do your legal compliance, it's not a one-time thing. You always have to follow up on it, you always have to check it, and it's a continuous process. And this task management helps with that. Another thing that we have that will help with it is the built-in audit function as well. Like I mentioned, our software is auditable, so it's basically traceable, the changes are traceable, but we do have a built-in audit functionality as well to help you with this continuous legal compliance. Now, the way it works is, whenever I create a new project within the audit module that I'm looking at right now, I'm just going to go into one existing one. And you will see here that I can select certain legislations. So let's say I have 100 different legislations that I need to comply with on the legislations tab in our software and on a global level, let's say. But when it comes to an audit, I want to oversee a few specific legislations that are the most crucial ones, the most important ones, and I want to make sure that I'm really compliant with them. This functionality helps with that because, as you can see, I opened up this checklist here. And this is for the India site that I have showed you before. I can see that these are the legislations that I have selected for this audit because I think these are the most crucial ones that I need to check. So what I can basically do here is open up these legislations and, of course, again, the implications attached to them. And I can just go through them and check their compliance level. So let's say for Rule 17, my compliance is in progress in general, but after overviewing it, and of course working on it during the previous months and the whole process, I am able to say that I am compliant with this. Whenever this happens, after that, when I close this audit project, then this will synchronize back to the legislations level, which means that if for Rule 17 I was in progress there, now I'm going to be compliant, and for my upcoming external audit, what I have is I have the traceability for every change that I made, and I have now the full compliance because I was able to overview it here in the denxpert system. These were the most important parts of our system, and what I want to emphasize finally is that the big strength of denxpert and our partnership network is that we always have the local presence, the local solutions, and the local legal content, and we have a strong software functionality that supports it all and brings it together. We know that many of our competitors are either very strong on one side, they have a really good software, but maybe their legal compliance and their legal content level is not satisfactory. Or on the other side, they are very strong on the legal content level, but they don't have a strong software or technical background. What we do with our partners is we bring these two worlds together, we unify them, and we offer a strong software solution with great local content. That's why denxpert is the perfect choice for you if you are an EHS manager.